belong to
Also, you won't believe who dropped their camera and like made a bunch of scratches on it. Hey everyone, it's Hurley from Inklipse, and today I've officially just decided that some things in card making just have to kick your butt no matter what. And if you're the lazy type like me, you don't want to do half the steps that's involved for a project, but you still want the same amazing result that other people get when they do all the work. So today I've simplified 6 different techniques down to make them just a little bit easier and make them look just as stunning in the end result. Just tips and tricks as well to make your life just a little bit easier while you're making your cards. Don't forget to leave me a comment down below letting me know which was your favorite life hack from today's video, and also if you have any life hacks you want to share or be featured in the next video, leave me a comment down below, and that's always greatly appreciated. If you like this video at any point, please give it a big thumbs up, and without further ado, let's move on to the video. This first hack is just color coding and labeling your ink pads so you know exactly which one you're grabbing for your projects, and you don't have to worry about testing them out before you use them on anything. So I'm taking the color name for each different ink pad that I'm going to label and typing it in 4 different times onto my label maker on 2 different rows, and I'm using 1/2 inch label tape here. Once I press print, it'll print out my labels super nice for me, and these are really durable and they'll last as long as you have your ink pad because they got that nice coating on them so they won't wear off. Then I'm putting that label in my trimmer and I'm going to cut it right down the center, and I'm also going to cut right down the center of those 2 labels so I can get each name individually and we can put it on each different side. You can do one side if you choose, but I just like to have all 4 so it doesn't matter how I view the ink pad or how I put it back into the organizer, I always see the name and the color no matter what side it's on. So then I'm taking this swatch stamp here, you can really use any solid stamp, and I'm stamping it down onto just the piece of cardstock I use on all my different projects because it'll vary the ink color with each different cardstock you use. I'm punching that out with 4 hole punches, once again 1 for each side, and then I'm gluing it on using some multi-matte medium, which is a nice strong adhesive, and then you'll have a different color dot for each side of your ink pad, and you know exactly the color name and the exact color you're going to be picking out before you use it on your project so you know exactly which color you're using. Instead of putting a name on these ombre inks, I just stamped down all the different ombre colors and cut them out and then adhered them onto each different side of the ink pad. That way you can see the full blend of color. This next hack is really good for saving time while stamping and making a couple different cards at once as well as testing some color combinations out. So I've been doing this lately where I just pick out a bunch of the stamps from the set that I really want to use on the card or might not make the cut but I still want to color them in. So I'm adding them onto an acrylic block here all together, and then I'm going to stamp them down using whatever ink I'm going to use to color it in. This way, when I stamp them down onto my cardstock, I can stamp all these at once on the same acrylic block, and I can also stamp it several times so I can play around with the same image, but different color combos and things like that, and decide which ones I want to use on my card and which ones I don't want to use. Then I just decided to color these in using the Zig Clean Color Real Brush pens. I quite like the look that I got today. I just scribbled really fast into all of them, missing some spots, leaving some white spots here and there, but I still love the result that we got today, almost more than I do like solid coloring. And these are the final results you get once you're finished, and you can add them onto your card however you would like. This next hack is for those people who aren't really too good at staying in the lines with watercolor yet, because I know sometimes it can be really hard to handle. So I'm taking this image and I'm stamping down this super fine line detailed image down using Versamark ink. This is a clear sticky ink, so it'll hold the embossing powder when we add it on. You can also do black ink in Versamark for a different effect if you want the actual outline, and then do clear embossing powder, but here I'm just sticking with white embossing powder and clear ink. Then I've heat set that so everything is nice and set, and then I'm going to just take some watercolors and watercolor on the inside. I love this technique because I can barely even control watercolor myself, and none of this will get outside the barriers because it kind of just holds the water in, and that embossing really is nice and acts like a resist. So once you're finished coloring everything in, if you want to make it look even more like you cheated in this and kind of was really good in coloring those lines, you can either use black ink or this clear for this, but you can iron off the embossing powder so it just looks like a regular image and you have a watercolor masterpiece on it, and that's also really awesome as well. Here's the final result, and the sky is the limit. You can go crazy with this one and use that black ink in the Versamark with some clear embossing powder as well. So for this next, I'm using the frog tape outline. I found this frog tape a long time ago and I'm just in love. So this frog tape will keep out paint, but it also keeps out watercolor, and it's super low adhesion, so I also use it to adhere dyes when I run it through the die cutting machine, and it doesn't rip any of my cardstock, guaranteed. This is the low tack one, so it's the yellow one. There's also green if you want to try that as well, but it's just a little bit stickier. So I stuck it down to the cardstock, peeled it off, nothing peeled up, and I find peeling it back on itself also helps with that as well. So there's supposedly this barrier on this, so it keeps out the paint and also the watercolor, as I've tested in the past. So I'm watercoloring right around this. You have to really push on it and to make sure it's nice and adhered onto the paper. I'm watercoloring around it and kind of on top of it as well. Then I'm going to heat set this to make sure it's nice and dry before I peel off any of this watercolor tape. And then once I'm done with that, I'm just going to peel off the tape nice and slowly and peel it right back onto itself. And it really kept out all the different watercolor, and you get a nice white surface on the inside. So if you want to mask off some images or things like that with this tape, that's a great way to do it, and you get some really awesome effects. So then you really want to make sure this is nice and sealed into that container once you're finished, which keeps that nice paint block on the outside. I think claiming your work is something that's really important in this industry, because no matter how many times your card gets passed down the line, or how many years it's been since you sent the card to somebody, they always want to know who made the card, and you always want to make sure you have something on the back, whether it's a signature or a stamp. So today I'm showing several ways to do this. Here's my stamp that I had made. You can do different stamp companies. I'll link some down below in the description if I remember, but basically I just ink this handmade stamp up, and then I will just stamp it down onto the back of my cards. It just says Inklipse Designs by Simon. You can leave a website there as well in case you want people to know that as well, but it just gives kind of a signature almost to the card so that people know exactly who made it and created it. Now if you don't have that, you can always just sign your name right on the back of the card, and you might want to invest in a stamp later on if you really love the hobby, but I find just signing your name is perfect as well, and you can get a handmade by stamp as well and things like that. There's sky's the limit with this technique. You can get whatever design on a stamp you want. I've always found background stamping pretty tough and never really got the hang of it and used background stamps a ton, but today I'm showing you kind of the way that I've learned how to do it that makes it just a little bit easier. So I'm actually using a Hero Arts Ombre ink today, and the way that this works is I inked it up with one side of the ink pad, flipped it so the same color is facing the same way, then flipped it and so on and so forth, and inked it up like that. You can use whatever ink you want. Then I keep the stamp down on that surface, I add my white paper right on top of it, then add a scrap piece of paper on it and push down really nice and hard so you get the full impression. And then once I pull this up, I have a really cool image with multicolored and things like that, and I think I love the result in the end. Alright, what do you guys think? I hope you really enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed creating it. Leave me a comment down below. Once again, which life hack was your favorite from today's video? And if you have any more suggestions, don't forget to leave those down below as well. If you want to see more videos like this and art related and card making as well, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below. And YouTube's been messing a couple of things up lately, so if you want to hit that bell right next to it as well, you'll get notifications to your phone every time I upload a video, so you can be updated on my latest project. If you want to follow any of my social media, it's all listed and linked down below. You can find a bunch of behind the scenes photos there and a bunch of project pictures as well if you like to see art related projects and things like that. So without further ado, I'll see you in my next card making and crafting video. Bye!